Your admiral is on board.
You should have known better.
Prepare
You
for
don't have
battle.
a sign.
It sounds like we can't actually hear you right now, John, at least on the broadcast. You might need to refresh something on your side. But we'll try and get John in just a second. You guys can see his beautiful face. Now, that counts for probably as much as hearing his beautiful voice. But soon, yep, we'll get him back in and have him join in pass. And now we'll hop ourselves into game number 1. Fnatic versus happening both out. I do apologize, John, for cutting you off. Although the viewers may not see it that way, they're probably thinking like, you know, where's John? But for me, it was like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna cut John off. He doesn't need to talk. Let me know if you're back in though when you are back in. Maybe
it seems like I'm supposed to be back in, so this should be working. We'll see. But yeah, again, we heard from SMG, right? They have it feels like they might be taking this maybe a bit lighter. I mean, the ranking still matters. There's still a little bit of points to swing between the places. Of course, the finals coming in as well. Raven though caught out here.
The entry from Afu kind of just blocking the other exit path. Now they're going to look to chase him down, even using that reflection from some additional slow. Raven, first blood goes to Moon of all heroes, the mid QOP. Going to have a big smile on her face as she goes to lane.
That's going to be a great feeling for Moon. A faster bottle coming through, more sustain to hold that lane in what should be a slightly more favorable matchup for Moon as well, having the range advantage over Kunkka. You've got the Shadow Strike to start with to really lay on the harassment. Armel can trade back with a Tidebringer, but level 1 to even level 3, that cooldown is still pretty big. So the window you have to harass back is fairly short, and gap closing QOP is going to be an issue without that Tidebringer. I think Moon's going to have a great time here, and you've got the Afu Shaker as well. So those rotations at the 4-minute mark, at the 6-minute mark, something SMG loves to do. That's something Armel's got to be always conscious about, and I think Fnatic's got to be able to respond to that pressure early on, just to ensure that Moon doesn't run away in this lane.
Yeah. Afu Shaker has been a go-to. Morphnot's worked out for them. Top lane, DJ already doing a lot of harass on a Roger. Chasing him right back to his tower. Doesn't look like it should be a kill, but you can see kind of the approach to this top lane. Clockwork, Grimstroke. You mentioned, I mean, the panel also did, they like the Grimstroke pick with the Clockwork. This lane could be scary and could put a lot of pressure on a mid one.
Yeah, there's a lot of combos there, especially once you hit even level 2, get the value point in the Inkswell, have DJ run up, get a battery assault. That's going to be an easy kill to find on the Disruptor, or even Terrorblade if he's mispositioned. At the least here on the TV, you can kind of stand back, play with Metamorphosis once that's up. You've got Reflection to kind of slow them down as well, and try and dish some damage back. But this is a very safe lane for Jabs. Like, he's not actually putting his body forward when these moves come out, because DJ's the one running up. So you can just stand back, keep farming while DJ cuts him off. He doesn't even have brown boots yet, and once you do have that move speed up, Roger is not going to be the most mobile hero. You don't want to necessarily get glimpse at level 2 as well for Roger. Heck, even level 3 glimpse might not be the ideal in this lane. So he's going to be forced to make a choice in what he wants out of here. Does he want the potential to kite, hold him back with kinetic field to play with Metamorphosis? Or is he going to have to opt for that defensive glimpse back to save himself? It's going to put a bit of a binder on SMG here.
Well, coordinated deny, we're seeing some of the SMG laning. They didn't have the level 1 Metamorphosis, which is maybe partly why this lane was a bit tougher at the start, but it's a couple of levels we'll see maybe SMG kind of settle things a bit more back to even. As we're not going to have an initiation. They managed to go in on mid one here. They're going to dive this one with the Inkswell. The kinetic field comes out. Is this going to be enough to save mid one? They get the tower to help them out, and with the reflection slow, DJ is going to die under the tower. A bit of an overcommitment from Fnatic, as mid one had the one charges to turn that one around.
And that is really unfortunate. Right as they dived in, Creep Wave is coming up as well. The kinetic field bought enough time for the Creep Wave to close in, spread that damage out in the last ticks, and mid-one just survives through. He is out of regen though, down to just one tango, one more to share from Roger, but that's still a big win here for the side of SMG, just getting even more out of the aggression that Fnatic's trying to pump out. Fnatic do have level 3 up, so there's an option for a level 2 Inkswell or a level 2 Stroke of Fate. Even a nice Phantom Embrace to cut off the counter attack, or the counter play from SMG here could be nice, but you've got the Terrorblade off to a pretty decent start. Still behind in CS. He hasn't died. He's gotten 2 assists. He's gotten some good EXP out of that. I don't think you're all too bad here if you're Raven this lane.
See how they look to settle things down here, and then Yeah, speaking of Raven, his Wraith King not really being contested down bottom. It's the Beastmaster who only has the 12 last hits to the 17 of Wraith King. So mid-rotation from Arthur. This is kind of his Shaker classic. He kind of leaves his offlaner once the lane sails down. I'm not going to go for an XTP home. Arthur almost got there in time to cancel the TP. That would have been really helpful for the mid lane, but instead he gets himself back to the lane. And we'll have his bounty room being stolen by this roaming Earthshaker, but he's full health, full mana, so he doesn't mind too much.
Still, plus a cut off from Afu prevents the refill for Armel. Doesn't mind too much, still has that full bottle from the XTP. But this is the movement we were talking about from SMG. 4-minute mark, 6-minute mark. Afu does want to show up mid to help pressure. You don't get too much here as Moon. He is forced to walk all the way back to top up. Does have the TP back in though, but that's a lot of time to give out to Armel. Still flanking up top. Could circle around jabs here.
Top tower is under
On the
attack.
maybe right side of the Fissure to not get chased down. Roger going for the Kinetic Field. Doesn't have any points in the Glimpse and looking to fight fire with fire in this top lane, going for the 2 points in Thunderstrike. As bottom lane, this means Raging Potato's been left alone, but he's still getting something out of this lane. As much as it's been a tough lane for him, they aren't completely zoning him away from farm or XP.
Just managing to get what you want there. Oh,
Jabs, Fissures there. The flank from Afu, they're looking to bring him down. Goes for one last stroke of fate to try and get the kill onto Roger, but DJ's kind of committed at this point, so he's going to be a little bit careful. He doesn't have the damage to finish off Roger, and he may be a second casualty. This Fnatic offlane is not working out at all. Afu gets the kill. DJ goes down, and it's 4 kills unanswered for SMG.
that is rough for Fnatic. Great moves out from SMG. Early rotation from Afu, literally across the map with the boots. Walking from bot to mid, from mid to top, cutting them off. I feel like they would have had enough information on Fnatic to back off from that Fissure cut off from jabs earlier, but they still choose to push the lane and get punished for it. This is going to be a slower start now for our offlane. Grimstroke 11 CS. Not slowing down the Terrorblade too much at 23 to 10. Mid one's getting all the farm he'd possibly ask for on the TB. And this is hurting this duo in a big way from EXP as well. Clockwork wants to hit 6 fast. You kind of want to hit that point with jabs as well to have that solo bind ready to force some early engagements. Neither of that's going to be coming out fast. And SMG, even if you left Raging Potato solo, you mentioned it, he's still finding farm. He's still going to hit that Dominator timing. He still has that pressure in lane. They do catch mid one out though.
Yeah, can they bring him down this time? The Glimpse back keeps the Clockwork at bay. Well done by Roger now, going for that value point. As back at mid, Armel got rotated on, but managed to survive his way through the Queen of Pain gank. There's potentially another blink from Moon in a second, but it looks like Armel is far enough away with the Ghost Ship and the Run buff to keep himself alive. Even gets salved up by his support Lion, so he'll be back to the lane and A-OK.
On the edge there for Armel. Again, it's that timing from Afu. His early game is just so sick. He knows where to be on the map. He knows where he can apply pressure. Up top, they are still trying on mid one once more.
Radiant's top tower is
Committed
under
to killing
attack.
this TB, and this time, finally, it works out for them. They make it the +1. The Glimpse, level 1, 48-second cooldown. So Roger from the last attempt still hasn't had his glint come back up. Afu rotates him with a nice fissure in the cog. It doesn't push Afu away. In fact, it pulls him in. So DJ, he's got to run. As elsewhere, it looks like Januel's actually managed to finish off Roger, so Fnatic going to look to turn and fight him with the level 3 inks. Well, they actually killed the Shaker. 2 kills go Fnatic's way. Really well played as Fnatic get themselves on the board.
They're just throwing their bodies forward. It's been failing a couple of times. It finally pays off. You're getting a little bit of a bounce back here for jabs. You're slowing down mid one to an extent. Terrorblade is still having a pretty good time here, but with all that pressure from lane, even with the kills, which he hasn't really picked up himself, he is lagging behind our Wraith King. When it comes to farm, both heroes kind of have the same pace. Both heroes can also pressure towers fast with Vampiric Spirit Skeletons and with the Illusion Spam Metamorphosis on the TV. You can kind of hit that same pacing. It just feels like a Wraith King overall does have a lot more durability at the start, so it can be online a bit faster from that. Knowing that, they are rotating out the Raven.
Yeah, he is a durable hero, but when you push up that far and there's a Shaker once again rotating behind you, easy kill. Doesn't have reincarnation, but even if he had it there, he actually had the skill point to level. He's dying twice guaranteed, so I actually like that he didn't skill it.
Yeah, just trying to build up as much as possible, trying to get that pressure out with Vampiric Skeletons. Does get punished, and this will lead to SMG's own push in the bot lane. With the Dominator up, they've got that additional regen on the creep wave. It's going to be a little bit tankier. They've got more damage, so they can melt through. Fortify will be there. The side of Fnatic are kind of pressuring top, not in the same way. So they'll be forced to respond. Pulled back. Raven is alone for now, but at the least Armel's rotated in. They just can't find the angle. Like, it does feel like you need something on your supports to be able to gap close. John Wall smoked up. Obviously, he's still a long way from the Blink. I think the big thing is getting DJ's level 6 up, because you don't have mobility yet on Fnatic. You've got at least the Blink in. For Moon, you've got a very long range, or decently long range glimpse on Roger if you find that opportunity, but nothing that allows Fnatic to jump in the same way. So I think giving DJ the space mid is very important for Fnatic to kind of get some momentum their way.
Raven under the tower being poked in product. This time he probably would skill reincarnation. There you go. He's leveled it up now. They're being pushed back very low. Doesn't really have the sustain to stay in this lane. And this is the helm timing of the Beastmaster causing a lot of problems. X-Bow to initiate in. They go in on Arfu, and I think SMG have decided there are just too many Fnatic heroes down here to fight into. They had some good vision. They used the Hulk. They knew everyone was coming in, but once you get caught by that X, you kind of have to let Arfu go. Seems like they're just going to go rotate back to these other lanes and play a bit more of the farm game now that SMG realize Fnatic are going to defend this bottom tower.
They want to hold on to it. They are giving, again, space out to Japs to build up on that off-lane Grimstroke. His solo lane has allowed him to hit level 7, rushing onto the Aether lens, it looks like, and once he's got that added range, it can be a lot easier to catch people out. Speaking of, Moon.
Caught in the river. They chain stun him down. That's another nice kill going for Fnatic's way. It feels like, you know, after that slow start in the lanes, they're just finding a lot of these key pickoffs. The Queen of Pain just getting a bit too greedy. I believe just going for a rune there and pays the price.
We heard Fnatic mention it. You know, they talk about SMG, they talk about them having this really aggressive early game, and Fnatic, maybe known as a bit of more of a defensive team, they're starting to get that aggression going. They're playing a lot faster, and at this point, did you know?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Failure lives on.
And full ahead.
SMG killed 2 here. They just didn't have enough damage to bring down the Queen of Pain. But yeah, what I was about to ask, I was just curious, what should we expect from a core Grimstroke in the mid game? Like, how is this Grimstroke going to feel different to, like, you know, your typical support Grimstroke?
It just tries to build up a lot more and tries to get that EXP advantage, so you'd want to get the levels up, get the Ags up and running a lot faster than most Grimstrokes. Normally we see that on support maybe by 30 minutes if it's a rush, 40 minutes, 50 minutes if the game is really tight and there's not much room for the supports. This time around, I think Jabs is going to be hitting it maybe by 2025. You're going to have that Ags, you're going to have a Terrorblade to steal, which is big. Having that Dark Portrait illusion of the TB and meta can turn these fights.
Mid one. Rotation in. They found them at the Ancients and blowing it up with a finger ghost ship. They commit absolutely everything. They're not going to stick around to go for those Ancients. I think respecting SMG and, you know, the potential for SMG to make a counterplay. Fnatic, after what happened up top, do not want to get too greedy. So they're going to leave those Ancients there for TP to farm when he respawns.
Or maybe just kind of use it as bait, you know. We know SMG's likely to come back into it. They can try to rotate back in, maybe when their spells are back up. With no finger, it's hard to burst them down. But boat's not too long for cooldown, and that should allow them to consider that or just force someone else to pick up that farm. Still really even game here, Parker. 6-7, 1k lead going away Fnatic, but not by much. You do have a good distance between Raven and Armel compared to mid one, Raging and Moon. At least a 500 to 1000 lead for those two cores over SMG's cores. But that momentum spike for SMG in terms of EXP, in terms of the early timing, is here. And SMG will look for that smoke play with Moon and Roger going deep in the jungle here.
They see Janual on the line going for the TP out, but no luck. Not when there's a disruptor here. So Janual, he's maybe buying enough time for Jabs and the rest of the Fnatic squad to come rotate in. They've got a hook shot here. He wants the Queen of Pain, but Afu here with the counterplay on the Fissure. They get the 2-hero soulbind in the torrent follow-up. They're going to bring down Moon. Roger's got no escape as well. Raging Potatoes kind of rotated over, but all he can do is watch as the counterplay is perfect. DJ's clockwork on point with that initiation.
Finding the angle. Januel stalled that fight long enough with the good uses of the stuns to actually get his team to rotate in. So I think that was really key. Having the line stalled out as much as possible to get that response, to get the punishment off. You trade a support for a really big core in the QOP. There's no Sanj up yet on Moon. He's just been so active on the map. He's not been able to build up at all. He's not finding enough kills to hit that early Kaya Sanj spike. And that does allow Fnatic to burst through that pop a little bit faster. The damage issue seems to be fixing itself as long as they've got Armel around to help out. And side of SMG, you could argue this is space coming through for mid one and even for Afu, right? Like he's just working the top lane, waiting for that blink. That's going to be the next timing for SMG. We heard the panel, we heard Danog pointed out. Once that blink is up, and we've seen this before, SMG can just turn these fights on their heads just from Afu alone. So I think that's something Fnatic is going to have to keep in check. That's where the clockwork comes in. You have to get some good flares out to scout out where the backline might be. You have to be ready with a hook shot to perhaps break off a combination when that blink in comes and just kind of cut off that control from SMG if possible. So we'll see how much longer it takes for SMG, but they are getting that space out for these heroes. Afu only about 400 gold off, and I'd say that's maybe a minute, 2 minutes away. Once it's up, you can expect them to start playing around. Still, Fnatic's position on the map still pretty good. They're still playing that top jungle area in and out with Raven, who can use the skeletons quite well. And they are grouping up for a bit of a movement out. They've got Finger ready. They're not popping the smoke, but they are kind of scouting around here.
Yeah, as well, as nice as this kind of stage of the game has gone for Afu to just, you know, passively farm up towards his blink without too much action, it feels like it's gone even better for the Wraith King. And now they're going to rotate in on Afu, who's so close to his blink, but he gets found out by DJ. You mentioned how the clockwork, it's going to be his job to answer the Earthshaker, and he starts it off well. They may have gotten a second here with the Soulbind on 2. TB, he's in trouble. The Inksource on his air. Can he get the Sunder off? Armel's BKB, so he can't actually go for him. Nice Tidebringer on through the Wraith King. He's going to get the Sunder. He brings the Wraith King down low. He's got the Reincarnation. Now the buyback coming in. Afu willing to give up some of his gold for his Blink Dagger to make sure they get these kills. Raven as well as DJ both go down. Moon caught the clockwork on the backline, and they're hunting. They want more. They get a glimpse back. Perfectly found, but Armel with the Self-X. Well played to counter the glimpse. Januel's line maybe not so lucky as he's been slowed down by Moon's Queen of Pain, and the Fissure from afar will guarantee another kill and a tier 1 tower. Afu, he bought back for that, but it paid for itself already. He's already up to 2k gold. Despite having to use like, what, 480 for a buyback, he got it right back.
Just all came pouring back in for Fnatic. It looked like a good angle. It looked like a good opening. They overcommit onto the TV without having key spells being used on the TV. Finger was used on the Shaker early on in that fight. And now Roche.
Clockwork's looking for the hook shot. He's got the angle from above, but he hooks the neutral. Oh, he didn't account for the Hellbears. And I believe he was looking for Afu. That gives SMG the chance to now maybe lose Moon. They got their Roshan, so Moon maybe going a bit too aggressive there. Got caught out by the Kunkka combo. With an Aegis in hand, SMG considering a play here, but just considering a play which is killing a line with some summons. So, or Januel not able to hold his own against the Beastmaster and all his units.
Yeah, he's really squishy in the line right now. Just having Tranquil, it's no stat items, even just a bare stick. So, but the moment he cops a few hits, very easy to melt. And the side of SMG now, feeling good. They are still behind by 1k. Net worth's now negligible. A very small gap with Armel in mid 1. Raven still maintains about a 700 gold lead, but he has been farming up a lot faster with the Skeletons. He's been playing the top area a lot better. Overall, though, SMG has hit that spike with a blink up on Afu. Echo Slam only 20 seconds off, even without it off, who tends to find some really good angles with his fissures here.
Got a roar out of Normal. They had the vision for him in the jungle. He gets the BKB up before the fissure can clip him. Afu couldn't quite get there in time. And Jonuel is actually looking for a counterplay. He may have just pogo sticked his way into a terrible spot. He vaulted in with the tumbler toy. And will pay for it with his life. A bit of a, you know, trying to save his buddy there, but ends up putting himself in a bit of a tough situation. So, yeah. Saves the Kunkka. One of the things I'm curious about, we're seeing mid one on this TB rush Butterfly. He's going to still be pretty squishy, although, you know, has okay-ish stats, but the straight up Butterfly. This is a bit unconventional when it comes to the TB item builds.
Yeah, I think it's just playing with that fast aggression, the faster push they want, because if you think about his attack speed with a Beastmaster aura and with the Thunderhide creep, the Frenzy being 100% uptime bonus 75, with a Butterfly up, you hit really fast. They are trying to get jumps out in Afu though.
Yeah. Got him. No ship there, they're throwing everything to make sure they get the kill, but mid one maybe in this bottom lane. No, he's not going to go for anything. They just leave the illusion and the Thunderhide. I do worry with the Butterfly, like this, you're making this dark portrait of Grimstroke that's coming pretty soon even stronger. Like, I mean, there's no, every item you want to get on TB is going to help out the Grimstroke illusion, but it does feel like something that's going to make that dark portrait even particularly strong.
Yeah, I think the one thing giving mid one confidence is that the big burst coming through from Fnatic is Finger. Like, Kunkka's magic damage combination is great as well, but you can kind of play against that maybe with a good time BKB and a Sunder. You can kind of save yourself for mid one. Big catch surprise really is Jonuel. He's almost at the blink, but if he is forced to use Finger on a different target, that opens up the fight for the TB with that Butterfly. Like, you're not going to expect an MKB or any sort of break coming through from the Kunkka, from the Wraith King anytime soon. There's a lot of durability you get out of that. I think he would love a little bit more HP though. Like 1.6 HP with that evasion doesn't make for much EHP, and that will need some padding out. The BKB might provide enough to at least push that towards 1.8. I think that's where you're a little bit more comfy. But that is a concern part though. Like you mentioned, the Ags is up on jabs, so Dark Portrait illusion on TV. With a Butterfly, it's gonna hurt his own team maybe a little bit more. They don't have the greatest illusion burst as well, so there's a lot of ways for Fnatic to just maximize that Ags on the Grimstroke, and it's all down to execution now for SMG. They've been on point with these counter fights. They just need to maintain that pressure and maybe try to get fast objectives without compromising too much here.
Thinking about poking at this bottom lane, although they're going to lose that Ancient Thunderhide. 250 gold goes the way of Raven.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Be careful with those Helm Creeps. That gold can add up. And the other nice thing going for Fnatic is this line is a nice way for them to quickly and easily kill these TB illusions. Something that can give Jonuel a bit of farm here and there, and also just slow down any split push or wave cutting that mid one might be doing with them.
That is too good.
Yeah, just removing some of that utility the Terrorblade does bring with that illusion spam. You know, quick note here, Parker. Almost forgot to mention the memes. I forgot because it's almost been a year, but this is the former CEO of Fnatic on SMG. It completely slipped my mind, but this is a grudge match for Mr. Moon up against his successors on Fnatic. I'm sure they're all friends, but that means a lot. Not just in ranking, but of course in proving a point. Let's see if Fnatic can find a little bit more. They're going for a smoke play. They want to use that Grimstroke Dark Portrait, but they're not finding the angles. Their wards aren't really spotting out where SMG's playing right now.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Like they just gonna use a little Wraith King skeletons to go for the mid tier 1 tower. Nice slam from the Ancient Thunderhide to bring him down, and the Beastmaster will clean him up a second time. So yeah, and to just kind of add on to that point about, you know, that kind of slight grudge match with Moon playing against his old team. These guys haven't played in like 2 months almost. They played in week 1. That was when SMG 2-0'd Fnatic. You know, it was kind of that like first of, you know, little upset, but Fnatic of course playing, when both teams playing with a somewhat new roster with some changes. But you know, it's been 6 weeks since they played, so fun matchup and one we just haven't had the chance to see since week 1.
Radiant's middle
Yeah.
tower is
And
under attack.
so far, it's going great for SMG. It's a very close game, though. Less than 1k lead, still 12-13. They've got the momentum with a push, but Fnatic's not really being choked out from that movement yet. They're still going for these aggressive smokes, still looking for the angle. Still no good vision, though. You're playing up against these great wards from SMG and the Hawks. Makes it hard to find those angles.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Looking from Fnatic, what can they find here? You mentioned SMG seem well aware, and they're gonna avoid this one. Raven just comes out and once again killing these helm creeps. That's the second one in a row, plus the boar. So hard with the vision that SMG's got. The aggressive wards plus the hawk. They just are doing a really good job of keeping tabs of all of these Fnatic movement, often catching them when they try and make these plays and making sure that they're unable to connect on these ganks.
It's just hard now for Fnatic to kind of find that weakness in SMG's positioning. They're so well secured from the Hawks, from their good wards, from their really aggressive wards, that they're kind of grouped up together on Fnatic, but they're not really farming as much as they'd want to. They're not spreading that farm out. The focus has been mainly on Raven and Armel. Jabs, with the Ags up, has fallen off, and I think that is something to be mildly concerned about as your offlaner, because obviously your Beastmaster is still building up constantly, so he's scaling a little bit faster. It does feel like Jabs is going to be relying mainly on that Dark Portrait. There's still utility you could go for on the Grimstroke. An E-Blade sounds fine, and just to get maybe double nuke off, although Armel gets caught out a bit. Gonna be committed on, though.
Yeah, trying to dissipate a BKB, I guess. It's one of those, you see that glimpse and you're wondering, are they going to blink, you know, Echo Slam or Fissure Me? The Armel seems to be well aware of what that was. Team are in that top part of the map, taking out over the outpost control. With next Roshan potentially coming up in the next 20 seconds. This could be a good position for Fnatic to be in. They've got a lot of map control around that Roshan area. They do need to address the presence of SMG down bottom, because SMG not necessarily going for like a full-on Rax commitment, but they do want to, force Fnatic back. Like just by being down here, it forces Fnatic to come and defend and also just be scared. Like Armel could get jumped at any time. They need to sit behind them to protect it.
Under attack.
The smoke coming out.
Smoke on smoke. Looks like they're both trying to find the angles for Roshan. Really fast respawn as well, Parker. 5 seconds. So if someone does force this fight out, it could lead into that objective, and for Fnatic, that could allow them to pierce high ground up top, which has been steadily shoved in by Raven. But it doesn't look like Fnatic are keen on checking that area. They're just taking back their own jungle. That gives SMG a bit of an opening. Just play in their own jungle as well. They've got Metamorphosis ready on mid one if they do want to go into the pit, and with a Beastmaster, with the auras, you can kind of get that done, but at least with a Clockwork, you can spam those flares out, so you can always take a look at the Roche if something's being snuck. And it's another smoke movement from both teams that doesn't really align to anything. It's just them shifting locations on the map, showing you how much caution they're taking while trying to make something happen. They don't want to take these massive risks. So much on the line. Again, we've seen that in the series earlier today, Parker, where these games can go on for a very long time considering what's at stake here.
Yeah, and even though the smokes don't lead to anything, it feels like it puts Raven with a blink in the X going to take the 2. I mean, it puts SMG in a better spot to control this upcoming Roche fight, because they deward the Radiant vision, they get their own vision down, and they've kind of set up camp around the Roche. Even though they're not willing to go in, not maybe feeling strong enough just yet, the pressure's on Fnatic to kind of always be playing near enough that they can contest SMG, who have that vision advantage. Dunker TPing up top is going to defend the tier 1 tower with the X. And that's the one tool that Fnatic seem to be using really well, is this X. Just pushing and farming some of the dangerous parts of the map when they can use that X to pull a hero back.
Radiant's top tower.
Low risk split farming. Side of SMG are in a more aggressive position now, though. They're much closer towards Fnatic. They are in a good flank if they want to take it. Poking, prodding.
Oh, the hole! It blocked the hook shot! Now the Clockwork's gone, hooking himself into a static storm. Armel has the BKB, as does Raven, so they can still fight through this, but they're not getting any damage out during their BKB, so they're just being kited. Soulbind on a 2 as they're going to pull back an Afu, so the Shaker takes a spill. Roger could be next on the Disruptor, so both supports on the SMG side have gone down. Same for Januel. DJ survived through the Sonic Wave, and Queen of Pain is dead for 60 without buyback. Both teams losing their supports, but SMG losing a little bit more with the Queen of Pain going down. With all that said, Fnatic still feel like they have to back off. They haven't got the answers for a Metamorph TV. They'd rather disengage. And Afu and the Shaker did end up buying back. So with that, SMG want to force this Roshan. They know once this meta wears off, they're going to be a whole lot weaker, so they want to take Roshan now.
And DJ does have the hook shot up in a bit, so you can find that angle as long as he doesn't get blocked.
That just worn off. Raven's just going to blink in. QOP has got the buyback though. They're going to go on the Helm Creep. They take that off to start things off. Nice find, just taking away some of that bonus health that they get from it. On the high ground, Raven's getting pretty low here. He does have reincarnation though, so can play around those 2 lives as SMG once again back in the Roshan pit, really trying to force this one. Roshan getting low, but the Clockwork Rocket Flare scanning this one out. Where's that hookshot? They're going to have to go in soon. Armel's at the hookshot. It's blocked again. This time by Armel. The ghost ship helps bring Roshan down. Oh, a bit of uncoordination there as Raven's gone charging in. Will slice up the Queen of Pain. That's the Aegis. So they've managed to at least negate the Aegis advantage. And they want to maybe kill Moon a second time. But here's the BKB. He's blinked in, and the 2-hero fissure. Armel, luckily his BKB's come back up. But with the 2-hero sold by Moon, could be in some trouble as well as Afu. Afu gets X-back into a torrent. The finger of death will finish him off. Now the silence onto the line. Earthspike's there. QOP gets disabled, but it's Fnatic. Armel going down to the mid 1 TB, even without the metamorphosis. There's just too much damage coming out from the SMG side, and having that Aegis ends up paying dividends for Moon, the CEO. He is a happy, happy camper.
Oh, that was just so unfortunate for Fnatic. DJ, he would have gotten the timing right. He was right on point with the flare. They even got kill credit for the Roche. Like, that was Fnatic's Roche kill. It was snatched away by Moon, and it's gonna cost them. They've lost a lot of big heroes. At least, you know, your Wraith King's still alive, but Armel's a really big factor for your team fights. SMG once more. If you give them a little space with a Beastmaster, with a Terrorblade, they can really just melt through these objectives, and they're forced to fortify early for the top tier 2, preventing SMG from maybe looking for a high ground play with only 1 tier 2 left. So Fnatic are still hanging on. These fights are on knife's edge though. These angles from DJ are so hard to find. We've seen him blocked off 2 or 3 times now from Hawks, from his own teammates. I think you've got to be... It's tough to get coordination in such a high pressure situation, but it has to come true. That has to come out from DJ. He has to be able to find the angles. He has to find that opening. We mentioned it earlier, Parker, but it does feel like a lot is lying on the Clockwork to find a good angle here.
Yeah. He's going to be the answer to really some of these supports. They did manage to get on top of the supports in that last fight. We'll see if they can keep having that fortune. Moon did bite back in that last fight, which is a big reason why they were able to turn it into their favor. Armel on the front lines, trying to maybe bait some over aggression from SMG, who are actually smoked up, looking for a target to go on. Afu, the Shaker, he's got to be the man of the hour. He's had a, you know, somewhat quiet game so far. No big echo slams just yet. There's always plenty of time and plenty of room for them to come out as Fnatic smoke up themselves, both teams, to make something happen. Lion gonna reveal himself in the mid lane, and I think SMG spotted that one. They ping it out. He didn't actually come out of the smoke, but he kills the illusion with the mana drain. On the high ground is Moon. He spots the smoke. They blink up there with the Lion, but QOP's already blinked away. Nice hook shot from the trees. Catches Afu as well as disabling off Moon, but Moon with the BKB able to blink himself away. Januel on top of this cliff is just completely trapped. He can't do a thing here, and the TB Metamorphosis is just going to push Fnatic away. Another hook shot coming in from DJ with the Aghanim Scepter to refresher. Armel's gone down, but they've killed Moon. It's cost them 3 heroes though, and with the DB Metamorph, they're going to force this fight. It's only Raven left standing. Raging Potato goes blinking in. Raven luckily blinks himself out of there. Have they got a glimpse of the Hawk? The dive bomb. It stunned up Raven, set up a glimpse, and making Wraith King use a BKB. SMG with creeps in the base are going to go for a bottom lane of Rax and potentially force some buybacks here, or just take at least 1 lane of Rax.
Radiant's bottom
They've only got 1 to take, so not much more pressure that you can get here on the side of SMG. I think that will lead Fnatic to maybe take it easy, surrender a set of Rax. It's fine. Tier 2s are still protected. Wave is pretty shoved out. So you've got backdoor on those tier 2s. Not much room for SMG to get more. For Fnatic, I think the big issue is right now, when they do come in, again, it just comes back to the fact that this Terrorblade's very well protected. With a Butterfly and BKB, and with a Scotty up, the EHP he has now with that invasion, it shoots through the roof. It takes way more hits from a Kunkka, way more hits from a Wraith King to kind of burn him down. You do at least have the Silver Edge up on Raven, so there's some solutions that are coming true. But in that fight specifically, Januel was caught in that warding spot. You know, you need that line to be active. You need to be able to use the Hexes, the Earth Spikes, the Finger didn't even come out. And that is your burst tool for the TB, especially if you can catch him before the BKB. So I think you've got to be cautious. He blinked up to get some info off, and that should
I think he
be
saw the
DJ's
QOP
drop.
up there. It felt like he was trying to jump the QOP, but as he blinked up, QOP blinked down, which actually meant he got silenced because of the Ag Shard. It silences at the start and the end location. So he blinked up to the cliff, instantly gets silenced, and he's just useless the entire fight because he's stuck on this cliff. So it was like a series of unfortunate events where if he gets maybe like a blink hex on that Queen of Pain, suddenly that could be a very different fight.
Yeah, and I think that kind of movement has to come out from DJ instead. Like, even though you commit on a different hero, you want the line to be your follow-through initiation, not the starter.
Yeah.
Unless you catch out something like, say, TB and manage to chain stun on top of him, it does feel like the line has to be hanging back. Let DJ break these fights off first, and then come in, try to get the hexes before BKBs are popped open, and run from there. It's easier said than done. I think that was like an instant reaction sort of thing coming out from John Well, trying to find that opportunity, but SMG was faster. Speaking of SMG, they are going for a full 5-man smoke once more. They don't have the vision this time on that triangle area, so they would be playing into high ground, but we'll see if they find the angle. They still have Hawks to play with. Fnatic are holding that area very well, though.
And Fnatic, I believe, saw them ward this cliff. They have the sentry there. They're throwing out rocket players. They know where SMG are, yeah. And SMG themselves, they do de-ward it, so both teams kind of revealing their position a bit. SMG more so than Fnatic, and Fnatic will say, you take that ward, we've got another. We're going to play back Bio Ancients, play around our vision. Johnny continuing to take out these TB illusions, and despite taking a full lane of Rax and winning that last fight, only a 5k gold lead and the 1 Rax advantage is not something that, you know, is like a decisive lead by any means. SMG are looking for that next big fight or potentially next Roshan to really secure themselves an edge in this one, because there's still plenty of fight left in Fnatic.
Definitely. I think the one thing that Fnatic has to worry about is, again, their scaling, because you basically only have 2 cores. Jabs does have that Ags to kind of use the Terrorblade illusion against them on SMG's end. But beyond that, like, compare the usability to farm on Raging. He's got a BKB. He's going for AC on top of the Dominator and Blink. You're getting a lot more utility. You're getting a lot more that you can get done with a Beastmaster and compared to the off-lane Grimstroke, where the combinations still work. Inkswell plus Hook In, if you time it, will kind of give you some time before the BKBs fly on. The Dark Portrait, the Soulbind is still really strong. But you're not getting much else from Jabs in comparison. I think that's the one worry as the game scales on, that the 3 cores of SMG might be able to overwhelm your 2 cores. Now, mind you, Fnatic scaling is starting to come true. Like, the late game scaling of Armel is coming out. He's got the Ags up. You're down to a 6-second BKB on Moon, so that might catch him by surprise for that shorter duration as well. You still have a fresh charge on mid 1, so catching the TB out with that Torrent Storm is going to be a little bit harder, but this will break up the team fights for a bit if Armel finds a very good central location.
Hook shot in. They found the support. It's Roger. Maybe one of the bigger fish, but DJ will be happy to take just the one. He's got a second hook shot out. Pop the overclock to make sure he's got an escape plan. It's just Raven on the front lines on the Wraith King, who's going to BKB, as does Moon, so no real threat on the Wraith King's life. With no disruptor, it means there's no glyph, but DJ in the trees has been found. We'll get a cogs off, but the tower as well as DJ's life will be claimed in this top lane for SMG. TB with the Metamorphosis up. We're going to see if he can get anything more with it. He's got that Swift Blink, so he can charge forward, but Fnatic, Raven, the Silver Edge, he's thinking about going in. They blink in, they follow it with the Hex. The Soulbind don't do with the double finger. They burst him down before he can sunder. Great play from Fnatic. Decisive jump, and they're not done. Raven's found another. He wants Raging Potato, who tries to Psychic Headband him away with the Inkswell Sun coming out. It's not going to hit because of the BKB. Potato does manage to blink his way out of there. But Armel with Phase Boots and Spider Legs is good. He guesses wrong. Armel, he could have kept chasing and found it, but he TP'd out in the perfect spot. Instead, it's going to be Moon being chased down in the trees, and he manages to blink away as well. That could have been maybe a team wipe, but luckily for SMG, they managed to get Moon and Raging Potato out of there.
Great backing off, cutting their losses on SMG, but that was such a great angle to find on Fnatic, knowing that without the Disruptor, without the Static Storm, you've got a lot of leeway to start these fights in a different way. Raven can run up, immediately get the break off, cut off some of that EHP from TV, melt him down. Great follow through coming out from Johnny Well and Jabs with a finger, with a Soulbind, the Dark Portrait doing a lot of work. I think SMG has to kind of protect that TB. Like, you can't afford people to just run up like that. They didn't have any sentries down. It's not like you really expect that sort of aggressive play. So Fnatic just really working that angle well, and Raven might be looking for more. He's under a sentry though.
Oh, yep, they see him coming. They're not going to try and necessarily... They might try and go on him. They do blink him once again on Moon. They're going to force Raven to BKB to back off, and that dire observer on the cliff, giving them some control around that fight. Raven just happy to commit his BKB, already down to the 6-second one, so as far as duration goes, not an issue for him. Found himself a flicker, so Wraith King at level 25 approaching. Armel down bottom, has a BKB and he gets it out. Oh, he's being roared through it, but I might be able to try and escape his way through this one. Disruptor doesn't have mana for a glimpse actually, so Armel may just be getting back to safety off on the side here. John Uel, his line's being caught out and blowing up. Sonic Wave, Moon, making sure they get the kill on the support. And they have managed to catch up to Armel. Now Disruptor managed to get enough mana to get the glimpse back. Armel going to throw out a Ghost Ship. Do what damage he can before he goes down. They're buying back. They've got the Soulbind on 2. They want to kill off mid one once again, and they're going to do it. He can't Sunder once more. They just chain stun him and burst him down with the TB illusion. The Dark Border. But Apu, he's counter-initiated. He's gone in. He's killed off the line. Can he get more? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to bring down much more than other than jab. He's paid for it with his life. The torch storm flying around him. The support and the offlane to go down. Apu, a valiant attempt, but he just didn't have any follow-up damage. It's mid one. His TB just being controlled. They don't have the save. It's so hard to defend the TB when he gets gone on like that. The chain stun with the soulbind is just too much.
Yeah, it's a great use of a hook just to have that BKB piercing stun. It looked like a good start for SMG. Great turnaround from Fnatic again, having the patience there. And that's a very ill-timed fight for SMG here, Parker. Roshan number 2 is up. Aegis on the board, along with a free Ags. Cheese as well. It's going to be a nice free Ags upgrade for Raven. So now you've got the reincarnation Wraith forms on all of the heroes. These fights might not be clean for SMG any longer. Sure, you burst down John Well. He's going to be alive to get Finger. He's going to be alive to get the Hex Earth Spike off. And that will complicate things for SMG because they've been really good at finding the supports first.
DJ, he got the vision on the high ground with the ward, and it's going to get followed up by Raven. There's an Aeon disc on Roger. He will manage to get himself back to safety. A lot of movement speed. Using that Thunder Strike on himself with the Shard. And Fnatic won't quite get the kill they were hoping for there. They're going to TP back DJ and reset things. Doing that. They're not in any rush. They still have some time on this Aegis. You mentioned, yeah, Wraith King with an Ags now. It's definitely nice for some of these heroes like Lion. It doesn't feel like it's like, oh, that's a great Ags upgrade, but everyone's got one except the Lion, so there wasn't really any other choice when it came to who to give it to.
Yeah, like they're all kind of set, and I just feel like in this specific game, just for John Uel, it's going to turn the fights for Fnatic. Because he's been bursted down first every single time. He's been forced to buy back to have impact. Now he's got a 7-second window where, sure, you're still going to die. Having a Hex on a hero that hasn't gotten BKB, you know, hexing up the TB before he can pop that BKB once more, kind of relieving some of the pressure there on DJ to find a good angle with a hook shot and overclock. Just gives you a lot more utilities, and I think that's something SMG is going to have to find a way to counteract. There's just not many saves to ensure mid one doesn't get chain stun like that. They just don't have anything like, say, a Lotus Orb right now to get a nice dispel off on at least some of those stuns to find that opening, and it just makes it a lot harder to expect all your investment on this TV to pay off if he's just chain stunned like that at the start of the fight. And then your big farm and core who you've invested in is not giving you returns on that investment.
Raven down bottom. There's actually an Apu Shaker as well as a couple more SMG heroes waiting in the trees. Hookshot going to be off the mark here, but he can reset it if he wants to overclock. But the initiation in from TB, he commits the BKB Metamorphosis, trying to kill off this Clockwork. He won't have the damage after he escapes, and in the trees, Grimstorm's not going to be so lucky with the Static Storm dropped on his head. He can't do anything other than try and throw out some hexes, but there's the Ags, the Wraith. He can try to use some spells here. Makes himself a Dark Portrait with an Ink Swap before he goes down. Trying to do what damage he can, but it's not a whole lot as the Ghost Ship now going to come flying in from Armel onto Moon's Corp, but nice defensive Yules. Keeps him alive a little bit longer. The Kafka's still going down. He gets low to 20 health. Has an Aegis if he needs it. It's going to be a dead Kunkka, but he's got a second life waiting for him. And SMG may be forced back here. This Metamorphosis will be wearing off fairly soon here, so not sure whether or not they want to force this fight. particularly with Jabs buying back on that Grimstroke. So they've got 4 alive on the Fnatic side, and SMG are going to have to disengage for the time being and maybe wait to see if they can find themselves another pickoff here as they poke and prod at this mid-high ground. Mel looking to clear out some of these creeps, does take out that Helm creep. Raven running in, has the insult, blinks in with the overwhelming blink. He found the Soulbind target as well, the double hex to follow it up. They want this mid one TB, can they burst him? The DJ hookshot is there to chain stun. They barely bring down the TB once more, preventing the Sunder, and Roger's going to get chased down. The Clockwork going to finish off him. Raging Potato gets caught in the middle of the storm, and it's not a friendly one. The Torrents help bring him down. 3 dead, make it 4 as they get the Afu Shaker as well. And this game, it's just such a back and forth, hectic fights, and this one goes Fnatic's way. John, what the hell's going on?
It's just so much. Like, you've got so many angles for Fnatic to take. SMG also has their angles, but it feels like they're much more reliant on good group control, especially from the Static Storm. Moon?
He blinked into a turret. Amel with the prediction play. It's BKB. And he will have to use it there. Trying to use that Stormcraft to dodge some spells. He's being chased down. He's actually maybe going to die here. The Conk's pushback is there. Oh, he didn't X him. The silence from the blink. Could have maybe got... I guess the X was still on cooldown. That was very close to being a kill there on Moon. Even though maybe it looked a little bit comfortable at the end. If he get caught in an X into a torrent, with his BKB down, it was all over for him.
And that would have opened up a big opportunity for Fnatic to pierce that high ground. We're already seeing Raven split push that top lane there. Parker with the skeletons coming through. He didn't really get the skeleton down, so it's not as much damage, not as much pressure on that lane as you probably expect. But you're still forcing response. You're still forcing those heroes to stay in that top lane to keep that shove out of their high ground, giving you some room here for Fnatic to clear out that tier 2 mid. Unfortunately for the side Fnatic, we're still a ways off from that Roche respawn. Still 3 minutes away until we see that timer. They still have the cheese on hand, but it does feel like that's going to be the safe bet for Fnatic. Like, they didn't have enough from the lanes being shoved in. They have to respond to the bot lane as well. Raven getting that done for his team. I think now the side of SMG, you really do have to find a way to keep mid 1 safe. He is going for the Lincolns, so at least you can break off the Hex, maybe even the Earth Spike if it's targeted improperly, but you've still got Hookshot. I think that's a big thing. You might be saved from a couple of spells, mainly jab spells and a couple of line spells, but there's still a lot of ways for Fnatic to kind of work against that. And they've got a lot of ways to break that Lincolns anyway. Like, if you break it with X, you're not going to feel so bad. You can still jump in with a Hex, Earth Spike, Phantom's Embrace. Dark Portrait being blocked might be the most painful. I think that's something Jabs will have to be really conscious about, but beyond that, I'm not sure if this is enough to save mid 1 when that item is up. So we'll see. SMG is still in a good position, not too far behind, and they do have the Rax advantage. So they still have a lot of control in this game. You just have to be really cautious about the angles they take in these fights, because a lot of the times Fnatic's finding the openings.
Got the high ground ward, but Torrent gonna poke and prod, and they really have to keep mid 1 alive. When it comes to openings, it's all about killing mid 1. Because he's being buffed up. All these auras, the Beastmaster, the Disruptor with the Thunderstrike shard as well. It's very much for protect 1 kind of strat. Blink in from the Queen of Pain. Still gets X. Torrent gonna be off the mark though, as they blink in and follow it up with the Raging Potato Beastmaster, or they're going to take out Raven's first life. For the BKB for a second, will he need to use it? The Sonic Wave is there. Raven will commit it in the end. Soulbind not going to connect, but in the backline, it's Afu Shaker. He's initiated, but he's been caught by a Clockwork DJ. Going to bring him down. Wraith King, though, his second life, he's lost it. He's got no reincarnation. He's just doing what damage he can in the Phantom form, but he'll be going down in just a second here. Will instantly buy back to try and force his fight. Hex onto the Queen of Pain. They want to get the CEO. They want Moon, and with the ghost ship flying in overhead and the Torrent Storm, it's the fleet. Armel takes them all out. Mid 1's being controlled as well. Silence up now as well, but the Metamorph, they don't want to go on him. Not feeling confident enough to fight into this one, and the glimpse back on a DJ's Clockwork. He goes for one last hook shot, but he knows where his life is headed. He goes down as well, and Armel in the backlines, he's been roared up. That's another kill. Maybe another hero that has to buy back on the side of Fnatic. So these buybacks are starting to add up, and Fnatic on the back foot have to defend their base. They're already losing their mid-melee Rax. There's nothing they can really do to defend this with the Beastmaster summons just tearing them down. They're going to have to make a decision soon whether or not they buy back this Kunkka. Looks like they may be waiting for some kind of initiation before they do so.
Radiant's top
SMG,
tower
they want to
is
go
under
for the mega
attack.
creeps. They're sticking around. There's the Kunkka buyback.
Radiant's
And with that,
turret
SMG
is
say,
under
okay,
attack.
one more buyback forced out. We'll
Radiant's
happily just back off. Really good fight for SMG.
They managed to make it work. They find the angles. They punish a bit of that hesitation from Fnatic, that slow trickle in. And they just go in and out with the QOP, bait them out, and trying to use some spells to chain her down. And then they just clumped up. They got cut off by the Fisher. They found the angles on SMG. They jumped the back line with Afu, who does get punished, but it breaks up the fight into two parts, where no one was able to focus on mid one early enough to chain stun, to get that burst damage off. And once you enable that TB to just hit damage from a mile away, he will deliver the goods. He's got the damage lined up. He's got the Lincolns to save now. So again, we'll have to see if that's going to be enough, but so far it looks like for SMG at the least, as long as mid one's not the one going in first, as long as he's not being jumped by Fnatic, someone else cops all the spells, in this case Moon, and you're fine. Like, the QOP is getting harder and harder to kill. She has so much utility coming up from her blink being in such a low cooldown. She's got the refresh as well, just in case. And whenever she does need to instantly bail out with an accidental blink in, or just get that burst damage off with a sonic wave. And SMG can now just control this triangle area. I do love this refresh pickup though on Raven, so he's got a window to use it. When he does go into the Wraith form, instant refresh on re-ink, he'll be back up, and that might catch SMG off guard. Let's see if it's going to be enough, because it does feel like the fight isn't initiating in the way Fnatic wants it to. It does feel like there's maybe a lack of damage there. Like, you aren't hitting as hard as a TB, and in comparison, the Wraith King wins out in terms of a prolonged fight, but these fights don't feel like they've been going all that long. Like, the burst damage is off the roof for the side of SMG.
Raven in the front. Scouted out. They catch the Beastmaster with the Blink Hex, but Fissure onto two, the hookshot follow-up. They want to burst down this Beastmaster, and they've got the damage to do so. Meanwhile, Lion in some trouble on the side. He's going to go down, but his life gets extended by the Wraith, and they've killed off two to start this one off. Great initiation. Jab's getting credited both. Lion will instantly buy back as they want to try and force this Roshan. They know they can maybe get themselves an Aegis. Raven in the front lines, he's not done. He has that refresher in his backpack. He's going to lose his first life. He may need to swap in this refresher. He hasn't got it just yet. He's still got time because of the Aghanim Scepter, and DJ on the back line. He wants Roger. He may have overcommitted here, but elsewhere the Queen of Pain has gone down, and he hasn't. He's got the kill. He's 4 dead. It's only mid one left standing, and he's going to deal with all 5 of Fnatic, including the Wraith form. He's killed off 2, but they're still fighting him. Even there as he killed, they come back from the grave to haunt him. They do end up losing the Grim and the Clockwork. The Ags on the Wraith King coming up big. Mid one just instantly buys back, but not a single teammate of his has buyback. This is one TB versus the world.
He's got to play this perfectly. No metamorphosis for 90 seconds. A lot of his damage isn't going to be coming out. Raven instantly popping the refresh just to ensure that he doesn't get caught off with a nice attack from the TB. High backdoor protection is still up for the towers, but the tier 4s are being pinged. And Fnatic see that opening. They know there are no buybacks for it, but they've got the skeleton army coming through level 29. They're going.
Mid one sees a DD. He's going to go pick up a DD at the top river and then come back and fight this. He's still on his own. Is this enough? Not TPing just yet. Is he going for a base race? What's the play here? No, he's TPing back. He bought something from the he bought a refresher. He gets another TB. He gets another metamorphosis. He's going to go. It may be too late. He gets instantly hookshotted. They're just focusing the building. A double.
Oh my god.
Doesn't get a single right click off.